Can Trump help broker peace in Gaza? A look at the current ceasefire talks and the stakes involved. As ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas resume in Qatar, the stakes for a sustainable resolution to the Gaza conflict are higher than ever. International lawyer, arbitrator, and award-winning peace negotiator Nomi Bar Yaacov, a fellow at the Geneva Center for Security Policy, offered an expert breakdown of the current situation in a recent interview. The resumption of talks comes amid a reported ultimatum. The Israeli delegation has threatened to escalate military operations if an agreement is not reached by midnight, Doha time. Despite ongoing hostilities, both sides have returned to the negotiating table with critical goals, chief among them the potential release of hostages and delivery of vital humanitarian aid into Gaza. A glimmer of hope. Ceasefire and aid. There is cautious optimism surrounding the prospect of a 60-day ceasefire. This temporary truce would allow humanitarian aid to flow into the besieged Gaza Strip, where the situation has deteriorated into a full-blown crisis. Aid organizations report severe shortages in food, medical supplies, and functional hospitals. The proposed plan would see 400 trucks per day delivering supplies and include the evacuation of critically ill patients for medical treatment outside the Strip. The ceasefire would also involve the release of approximately half of the remaining hostages, both living and deceased. Of the 58 total hostages, the deal under discussion aims to release 40. In return, Israel would potentially release a range of Palestinian prisoners. However, the classification of these prisoners remains a sticking point. Some detainees have been charged with direct involvement in the killing of Israeli citizens, while others, detained after October 7, 2023, face less clear allegations. Further complexity arises around the fate of these prisoners, specifically whether they will return to Gaza, relocate to the West Bank, or be sent to third countries. Leaked plan raises alarm. Adding tension to the talks is a leaked Israeli military document obtained by the Sunday Times titled "The Complete Takeover of Gaza." The plan outlines a strategy to divide Gaza into 3 civilian zones surrounded and separated by 4 Israeli military zones, effectively restricting Palestinian movement and placing aid distribution under the control of private Israeli firms. Bar Yaacov unequivocally condemned the plan, calling it an illegal belligerent occupation under international law. "I don't think it will happen," she said, "because the only country with the leverage to stop it is the United States." Can Trump be the peacemaker? The question many are asking is, can Donald Trump stop it? And perhaps more importantly, does he want to? Bar Yaacov believes he does. Yes, I think he would like to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And in order for him to win the Nobel Peace Prize, he's got to not only end the war, but make sure that the end is sustainable and long-term. Trump recently returned from a diplomatic tour of 3 key Gulf states, Riyadh, Doha, and Abu Dhabi, where he was reportedly confronted with the inhumane realities on the ground in Gaza. According to Bar Yaacov, this exposure may have increased his interest in securing a long-term resolution. She emphasized that the so-called Arab Plan may hold the key. Under this proposal, a technical government backed by the Palestinian Authority would manage Gaza for 2 years ahead of democratic elections. The plan includes a 5-year reconstruction strategy without forced displacement of Palestinians, although some voluntary relocations may occur for medical or humanitarian reasons. Bar Yaacov argues that the leadership in implementing this plan will come from the Gulf states, with support from Egypt, Jordan, and crucially, the United States. Europe's role, she added, is supportive, particularly on the humanitarian front, but the political resolution must be driven regionally. Conclusion. As negotiations continue under immense pressure, the world watches to see whether diplomacy can prevail. The situation in Gaza is urgent. The talks in Doha may offer a rare opportunity for a sustainable path forward, one that balances humanitarian needs, political complexities, and international law. If Trump wants to etch his name into history as a peacemaker, this may be his defining moment.